Hello everybody and welcome back to the second shelf. If you're following my channel for a while, you're probably wondering what a TBR video. She never does TBR videos. That's absolutely true because I'm such a mood reader. I never stick to, if I were to do a TBR, I would never stick to it. So that's why I don't film them. But I really like watching them. I'm always jealous about people who make lists of what they read in a month or a week and stick to them. And then I thought, well, TBR could also mean to be released. So what I do now, and what I will continue doing, hopefully, every month, is look at the new releases, because that's one of my goals for reading in 2017, to really try to keep up with new releases, or at least to some extent. So I will look at new releases and pick a few that I'm really excited about and that I'm planning to read. So my TBR is new releases in April. Oh, and I should probably add, I'm talking about new releases in the English language in the UK mainly, but I will also mention if and when the book will be published in the US. Sorry, Canadians and Australians, I'm not sure how to keep up with what is released in your country. So anyway, the first one is a debut novel, and that's How to Be Human by Paula Cocozza. Paula Cocozza is a feature writer for The Guardian. I will leave a link to her Guardian profile down in the description box. And How to Be Human was released in the UK yesterday, 6th of April, and will be released in the US beginning of May. It sounded intriguing when I read the blurb. It's about a woman who has an increasingly close relationship to a fox that she encounters in her garden, and there's also a baby that she finds one day, one midnight, on her doorsteps, and it's obviously unclear whether she snatched the baby from the neighbor or whether the baby was left. So the setting of the story sounded really interesting, and if you look at the UK cover, you will see the fox, the face of a fox on the cover. So I thought it sounded interesting, and because I'm always also looking for new writers, debut novels, this one went straight to my April TBR to be released list. And the second book I picked is also a debut novel, and that is If We Were Villains. Difficult to say for a non-English mother tongue speaker. If We Were Villains by ML Rio. ML Rio was born in Miami, and she was an actress before she became a writer. So it's not surprising that her first book has something to do with acting. According to the blurb, the book opens when Oliver Marks, a young actor, is released from jail after 10 years, and when he's released, the policeman who put him there is waiting for him because the policeman finally wants to know the truth of what happened 10 years ago. So if I understand it correctly, the book is part a confession about the events 10 years ago, and these events have everything to do with 7 players who put on stage a play by Shakespeare, and then obviously something must have gone wrong because Oliver Marks ends up in jail. So that sounded a really interesting premise, and because Rio was an actress, I thought this is a book to be picked up. It will be released in the US on the 11th of April, and only a little bit later in the UK, beginning of June. The next author is also interesting, not only because of her writing, but because of her previous pre-author life, and that is Meg Howrey, and the book is The Wanderers. Meg Howrey was a dancer, a ballet dancer, before she began to write. She published 3 previous novels before this one, and one of the novels, I think published in 2012, The Crane's Dance, is about a ballet dancer and the private life of dancers. I will leave a really good review done by Mercedes from Mercy's Bookish Musings in the description box, and also a link to Meg Howrey's website. The Wanderers is a science fiction novel. It has been published in the UK yesterday and is already out in the US, I think in March, came out in mid-March. And the setting is three astronauts, a woman and two men, who are preparing for the first mission to Mars. Now, the book is marketed as The Martian meets Station 11, which I think is giving all the wrong ideas, because I read the book already, and it is much more about the relationships between the astronauts and the families at home, what it means to be away from home for such a long time, because in preparation for the first mission to Mars, the astronauts are confined into a rehearsal area for 18 months. So as if they were going to Mars, they cannot go out, they cannot see their families. So it is a science fiction setting, but the novel centers exclusively almost on the psychological effects of this confinement and what it means not to be away from your loved ones. And so it's much more about that than it is a science fiction novel about how to survive in space. But still, I thought it was an interesting book, and if you are looking for sci-fi but not hardcore sci-fi, then The Wanderers might be something for you. And then we have two more books. They are both crime novels. And the first one is Donna Leon's Earthly Remains. That's the 26th book in her Commissario Brunetti-series. Donna Leon, I don't think, needs any introduction. She is an American writer living in Venice, most famous, obviously, for her Brunetti-series. Since 26 years, every year, in the spring, she publishes a new installment of the Brunetti-series. I love the series, especially because it's giving such a great feel of Venice. I think I learned more about Venice and about Italian politics from reading Donna Leon than from most other books about Italy or Venice I read. So for you Donna Leon fans out there, or maybe somebody who wants to explore Donna Leon, the 26th installment will be published in April. I think it's a simultaneous publishing in the US and the UK, and probably the other English-speaking countries as well. And the last book is also a crime book, but of a quite different nature. And that is Blythe Rippon, and her new book is called Benched. Blythe Rippon is an American scholar and author. She teaches humanities. And she started to write feminist lesbian fiction a couple of years ago. And her new book, Benched, is also centering around LGBTQ themes. We have a Supreme Court judge and her girlfriend or wife, and something goes wrong when a kiss is published on social media. So all of Blythe Rippon's books always deal with the lesbian theme. If you're interested in own voices, because the author herself lives with her wife in San Francisco, so she is part of that community she writes about. She writes gripping crime, but with a twist, in the sense that her novels always deal also with the political theme of LGBTQ community, focusing on lesbians. The book Benched will come out in the UK. It will come out, I say, but it came out because it yesterday on the 6th of April. So maybe that's something you are as interested in reading as I am. So those were the books, but there's one more thing I wanted to mention. I already mentioned one channel, Mercedes, over at Mercy's Bookish Musings, but there are two other channels I want to mention and shout out, because if you're interested in new releases, but you don't want to go through all the publishers' websites and look which book will come out, then you should watch those channels, because there's always tons of new releases and information about new books. It's really valuable. So that's Mercy's channel for once, and then it's Simon over at Savage Reads, and Steve over at Steve Donahue. I will leave the links to all of those channels down below. And by the way, even if you're not interested in new releases, they are great channels, so you should check them out and subscribe anyway. So this was it for my April TBR with a twist, to be released books in April. Let me know whether you enjoyed this, whether you are interested in this new approach to TBR, because I want to continue it every month. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.